So here at Cookman Law, we love our fur babies, and a lot of our clients love their pets too. In the Cookman house, we've had several pets who have really been part of our family. We had Ulysses, who unfortunately passed away a little while ago, and we have Skittles, our spunky cat, and we have Rosie, our sweet and very active Siberian Husky mix. Each one of them is so dear to our heart. I recently told my husband, I feel like I have 4 kids. I have my 2 boys and I have Skittles and Rosie. And he responded by saying, phew, I'm glad you didn't include me in that list. So in any case, a lot of our clients really care about their pets, and you may as well. And so I wanted to talk about best practices for planning for your fur babies. Okay, so planning for your pets when you're gone really takes place in your estate plan, in your trust, or your will. So in your trust, you can say who you want to take care of your pets when you're gone. That would be the caretaker, right? And you can even name several people. You can name one person and say if they're not available, then the next person, then the next person. And you can also say, kind of as a backup, the pet can go to a no-kill shelter if nobody can, find a home. But really, it would be good to ask around, ask people if they'd be willing to take your pet when you're gone. We used to joke around when Ulysses was older. We have some neighbors who have several older animals, and Ulysses loved going there because he always got treats. And we thought, if we were ever gone, we'd want that couple to take care of Ulysses, right? So you may have somebody in mind. Put it down in paper. You want to make sure that your wishes are written down. You can also leave a cash gift in gratitude for taking care of your pet. Now, why do I say in gratitude? What you don't want to say is this amount is to pay for the services that this individual will provide, because then it counts as a salary and the recipient has to pay income taxes. So instead, we just want to say, hey, here's my pet, and as a thank you, I'm leaving you, $10,000 or another amount. And then they can use that amount to take care of the pet, and also you're just saying thank you. Now, you can set up a pet trust. And some people do this, although sometimes I think it's kind of overkill. So in California, in the probate code, section 15212, it actually provides that you can set up a trust with a pet as the beneficiary. So in that case, you name who's going to be the trustee, who's managing the money, and then who is the caregiver. All right, so who's going to be taking care of the pet. And I often think it's actually good to segregate those two things if you can, right? So you have somebody who's managing the money, and then you have somebody else who's the caretaker. And I'm going to tell you a horror story in a little bit to kind of explain why. Now, sometimes, you'll want to see how much money do you really have to leave to the pet and how much do they need. A lot of animals, dogs and cats, they don't live very long, and a lot of times they don't have significant needs. So you don't have to leave that much. But let's say a horse, it can be very expensive to upkeep. So if you have a group of horses, you may want to set up a pet trust for them. Or let's say you have a monkey that might live to be like age 80, right? For them, you might want to set up a trust just so that it can last for a long time. And then in the trust, you can also say, who's going to be the caregiver. And then if the caregiver isn't available, like let's say you have that monkey that's living a long time and then the caregiver dies or just can't take care of them anymore, then who's going to take over as the successor caregiver? So you spell all of that out in the trust.
Hey everyone, if you liked my mom's video, like and subscribe.
So how would you want to fund what you're leaving for your pet? Well, the easiest type of asset is just leaving them cash. Okay, you may have some extra cash that you say, okay, off the top, before money goes to my kids or to this charity, I have a chunk of money that I want to go to the caregiver of my pet. You may not have a chunk of money, and you might want to get, say, a life insurance policy. So that's a way that you can, buy a policy for not that much money, and then the money becomes available when you're gone. And that's really when you need it in the first place, right? So I want to mention, just for fun, a few pet trusts that have taken place recently. So you may have heard of Leona Helmsley in the 80s. She had a Maltese dog, and she left that dog $12 million. Now, there was the dog's name was Trouble, which I think is really funny. There were some family members who challenged this pet trust for $12 million for this dog, and that amount was eventually reduced to $2 million. Then there was a German countess named Karla Liebenstein, and she left $65 million to her German shepherd, Günther III. Now, after she died, Günther III died a week later, but Günther III had a puppy named Günther IV, and so all that money went to Günther IV. And you may remember Michael Jackson's pet chimpanzee, Bubbles. Very cute chimpanzee. He left $2 million to Bubbles. And once Bubbles became too large and too aggressive to live with Michael, he actually went to live at a pet sanctuary in Florida, and that money was used to support him at the pet sanctuary. And Bubbles still lives there apparently, and his upkeep is paid for by the Jackson estate. Now, the warning that I wanted to caution you about is if you have a pet trust and it's to provide for, the pet's lifetime, and then upon the pet's death, then, it goes to somebody else, and you name the same person as trustee and caregiver. I've heard of horror stories, and I'm not sure if they're true, but I've heard that there have been cats who've lived a very long life, let's say 70, 80 years. How could that be? Well, that could be because the caregiver had an interest in making sure that that animal lives as long as possible, because the caregiver gets to live in the home while the pet is alive. So maybe when the pet is getting close to dying, the caregiver finds another cat that looks just like the first cat and says, oh, this is still the cat. And this can go on and on and on. So just be cautious when you're leaving money to your pets. You want to make sure that it's managed in the right way. So hopefully this video has given you some food for thought on how to care for your pets, otherwise known as our fur babies. I encourage you to look over your estate plan to see how your pets are currently provided for. And if they're not provided in the way that you choose, it could be time to update your estate plan to include them. I recommend that you watch my video, 2024 Trust Update Guide, to get an idea for other things that you might want to update in your trust, so you can do all of them at the same time for the updates, and I'll see you over there.
Hello everyone! If you liked my mom's video, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you all next time!